Hello, everyone. It's a voiceover recording of a Salado app, Fargo rated, 9 ball, race to 9. My name is Sean Lewis. I'm playing against Marcello Girardi. At this point, I'm a 666 Fargo. Marcello is 592. The format we're playing is alternate break 9 ball, 9 ball on the spot. Marcello is preparing for a larger tournament using that rules format. I suggested that we do alternate break. The purpose of this is to do analysis on his game as well as, I guess, for me as well, so that he has insight into what I'm doing. But I felt like it's a little bit more equitable and even to just do alternate break than we get to just go back and forth. Not that I'm likely to string many racks, although eventually I feel like it's going to happen. And I think that for this purposes of what we're doing here, which is more for training and instructional purposes and advancement of the game, this alternate break is good. So I was trying to play for the 4-9 combo, and I just overdrew and ended up on the rail, so I had to sacrifice that idea and move towards a breakout concept here. So my main focus for these matches is to study what I'm doing, identify areas where I can improve, and then try to implement something. And right now, that means for me, that was a good breakout on the 5, leaving myself a nice shot. That was pretty risky. I was prepared to play safe there if it came up weird. With that being said, yeah, I'm working on being more precise with my visualizations and also trying to develop my stroke. I find myself sometimes having a little bit of a jerky transition, and also from like the backswing to the follow swing. And so I'm working on having a nice smooth transition, as well as finishing the stroke and keeping the tip down. Basically not like lifting up my hand or pulling my hand back unnecessarily quickly. So those are kind of like things that I'm watching for myself right now as I develop my game. So I've got a pretty good shot here. I think I'm going to end up just playing for the 7 in the corner. If I had a little bit of a straighter angle, I might have played for the 7 in the side. But with the 7 being below the side pocket and the 9 being there, that takes away one of the lanes for position for shooting the 7 in the side. So I opted to play the corner. And then I'm just going to play down table with follow and a touch of right English. Might just be follow because I don't need to really get low. I need to maintain an angle on the 8 so I can come back up table for the 9. Using spin there to get down table more could potentially lead me straight in, which is not ideal. Having a nice angle like this, I can just go back up table 2 rails kind of in front of the side pocket. Could hit that a little bit better. Got away with it. And we're just going to shoot this shot from here. Just got to accept what happens no matter what. As long as you have an idea of what you're doing and you try to do a full visualization, then that's a success. You can't control whether or not your body is moving perfectly. Alright, the score is 1-0. It's a break and run. Pretty clean other than bumping the 9. Alright, so this is Marcello's first break. dry break. Looks like I'm going to play safe. One of my more common safeties that I play is to bank the one back to the other end rail and just try to use the blocking balls to force a kick shot. In this situation, I may not do that. I was trying to bank the one between the 2 and the 4 and leave that cue ball kind of where it was. Just cut it with a little bit too much angle. Maybe it was a poorly constructed shot. So here for Marcello, if the 8 is not constructing the 2, then I would use left spin, try to bump into the 4 productively to continue the shape. If it kicks and double kisses and goes higher, you might have to shoot the 3 or the 2 in the corner. Like so. That's a good shot. Now it appears to me as though the 3 passes. However, looks like to me what I would shoot is the 3 off the 7 in the side, if that's a good shot. And then you're going to have to play your cue ball from there with low and right probably. So it makes it a little bit tricky because the 4 is down all the way on the end rail. From here, it's a little bit tricky to do what I suggested. It still might be the preferred shot, as long as your cue ball control is good enough to get down to where to shoot at the 4. Even if you miss the 3, it's likely that it'll be difficult for me to come back and then have a good shot. So we played a reasonable safe. He did leak out just a little bit. I could try to kick this in to the side, and because you have potentially the 7 could help it, and then the cue ball would travel down towards the 4 if I kicked to the end rail. But I think that I'd have to spin the cue ball to do that. So I'm just going to play off the side of the 3 and leave it ideally behind the 5. Oh, excuse me, I didn't shoot that shot. I was playing all the way down. That's right. With the theory here that if I did sell out an angle on the 3, that it was going to force him to be shooting away from the 4. The cue ball wants to go down table, so then the only real shot that he'd have to easily get shape would be elevate the cue or to choose some sort of bank shot. So that's my thought process here. Pretty good 2-rail kick. Left me on the end rail. I'm going to play this aggressively. If I can make the 3, then I will have a shot on the 4. And with all the other balls in the open, it's a good opportunity to play aggressively and go for it. I'm just going to focus on my stroke and my contact point here and really ideally kind of like seeing the shot in my imagination go in before I even attempt to get down. And as I get down, if I see that I'm not quite the way I pictured it in my mind, I will get up and start again, or I will get partly down and then add to the visualization. Okay, I guess I did not gamble there. Instead, I'm going to play safety. It's possible just that I didn't see that shot being so easy to just go for it and then sell out if I miss. Knowing that I can play safe, that's going to be potentially effective. I wanted to get that 3-ball further to the side rail or use the 5 as a blocker, but not leave this bank shot. Made a good bank, but the 5-ball interaction kind of ruined that. Looked like he was trying to play 3 rails around and avoid the 5. So you're with ball in hand, you can either draw or follow with inside. Came a little bit higher than I was planning to. My initial shot was to stay below the 8, I think. This is totally fine. I just was flirting with being behind the 8 for a second. Any shot that doesn't leave the 8 straight in with the cue ball on the rail is pretty legit here. The 9 ball's pretty easy if you can get above it. Even the cut shot's not so bad. So I'm mainly just playing to get almost straight in. Ideally I would have been below the 8 so I could punch and go in front of the 9, above the 9, but as it is, I'm just going to go down to the end rail and back up, I think. Pretty natural. Again, I'm working, really trying to use the minimum amount of English that I can for every shot, just trying to simplify everything for myself and learn kind of a more basic, fundamental style of pool that uses less English and more just pure shot making and speed control. Alright, score's 2-0. We're not using the box for this, so we can break anywhere. I guess that's in the rules too, but I'm choosing to break from the box. Just because that's how I've practiced breaking with the 9 on the spot. And obviously I'm not as good at it as I'm going to be as I continue to play this format. The essential concept is that you want to cut the cue ball, glance it off the front of the rack and try to pocket the 1 in the side, and then use draw with the cue ball to keep it from scratching. It's probably going to play safe here. Almost got behind the 3, sold out, but then the 5 and the 6 are there as blockers. Potentially could bank this ball. Could try to shoot at it and try to make it. Could bank it. Maybe is the right shot. Another thing you could do is bank it towards the end rail and use a little right English and try to leave the 9 and the 7 as blockers. So you'd like to debank it and try to shorten it up. That's why there was that much power. That would have left him shape for the 2-ball. So I'm just going to touch a draw here, I think, to draw past the 3. From here, I'm just going to punch out, play the 3 in the side. Just got to maintain a little bit of an angle on the 5 so that I can come down for the 6 so I can float. But I like to just go into the rail and back out. Leaving it a little bit high so that I don't have to use the bridge. Of course, I do have to use the bridge anyways. Ideally, you play the shapes where you don't need a bridge. I wanted to stay above a little bit less angle than that. I'm trying to play the 7 in the side here. This is just going to be like rolling the ball with a touch of the left, I think, to try to get allow for a fuller hit on the 6 with the gearing action will slow the cue ball down. And a little bit too much left English. It reversed, and I wanted to go straight up table. If it had gone straight up table, then it would probably have been almost straight in. So this is a little bit more difficult than I wanted it to be. I think I'm just going to shoot the 7 all the way down. Barely missed. On that shot, I was sort of torn between cutting, or not cutting, but punching it. Which I think I would have made. But the problem was it seemed to me as though the 9 would be in the way. The cue ball wouldn't move very far. And then I might get stuck behind the 9, so I decided to slow roll it. Even though that was a slightly more difficult shot, in my opinion, for me. Good slow roll there. Just make this in the side and roll up. Leave yourself a good shot on the 9. Checking your angle, that's good. Little wobbly at the end of that stroke. The tip kind of shaking back and forth. Again, that's something that I'm working on, trying to minimize in my own game. I feel like I should be able to just stroke straight through and not have the tip deviate from the line. Two to one. All right, it's Marcello's break. Let's see what's going on here. Not sure if he was trying to cut that. Looks like a cut break with inside spin is what happened. Could have been just accidental right English, made it spin, I'm not sure. 1 or 2 reps, I can't really tell. Long ball. Might play this high left and try to come 3 rails. If it bumps to 5, it should still be okay, as long as you come back out from the 3rd rail and hit it. If you're going to be aggressive, that's what I like. You might as well go for it. If you can get on the 2, then the 4, 5, 6, pretty easy. I mean, standard. I shouldn't say easy. Left me not much. I could bank it, but I'm going to play safe and try to use the 5 as my blocker. This is left spin. Just banking the 1. As long as it doesn't stay behind in front of the side, then it's good. The speed's not that important. Really just trying to get the cue ball perfect. Just a hair short. Left the bank here. I think banking it with inside, high inside, is a good shot. That allows you to come off the rail and potentially have a shot on the 2, past the 6. If you're going to play safe, I'd probably just cut the 1 and bank it under the 2-9 and go back and forth with the cue ball. Potentially could go off the side of it and try to end up below the 2 and the 2 and the 9. Nearly made it on the Z. Super thin cut. So I'm just trying to play the slow speed. So that I can stay in the region where the 2 is at and not down by the 5 if I hit it too hard. At least that's what I think I'm going to do. Even with that slow speed, it still went that far. I think I'm going to have to come with a stroke shot here. Follow. Get a good rub. And that's just center ball high. If you add spin, a shot like that, you're typically going to get too much swerve or too much squirt to really be able to control the accuracy to the level that you want to, and you can get pretty much the same result just using high ball. So the pocketing is easier, but the position is going to be not quite as good as it could be without English. If you had used a little bit of English, it could be better, but the shot becomes exponentially more complicated, and it's a balance. So I try to avoid using too much spin, just enough. Let's overhit it or underhit it just a little bit. Pretty good. Just gotta visualize, watch the ball go, and then connect to that moment, and then stay in that moment. 3-1. Alright, score's 3-1. Six ball doesn't pass the 9 to go in the corner. You can shoot it in the side. I'm going to probably try to use, I think my plan is to use the 3 to try to break it out. It's high ball for the 1 to the 2. I'm going to try to find a natural rolling angle for the shot on the 3 so that the natural rolling ball angle bumps into the 9 or the 6. Ideally the 6. Or splitting the 2 would be good. If I get it too full into the 9, I could get stuck under there. But I'm just playing just to bump it and move it a few inches at most to maintain a position on the 3, or the 4 I should say, excuse me. It's really sort of difficult to play position for the 6 from the 4 the way that it is. Ordinarily I wouldn't try to move any of the balls. I'm just going to play safe and try to send the cue ball under the 7 and 8. Ideally, like frozen to the bottom of the 7. The 9 and the 6 are in the way as well. It's hard to see if this goes. I think 2-rail kicking at this ball is fine. It's got to be accurate. But all these shots require accuracy. If he's trying to thin this ball and leave the 4 ball down there, that's pretty tough, unless just because he's on the rail. Barely missed. I was almost there. So I'm going to play shape now for the 6 in the side. Ideally straight in, so I could just draw straight back. As long as I'm not on the rail, then it's not too bad. Overroll just a little bit. This is fine. I can still draw and maintain the angle for the 7, although I'm going to be a little bit higher than I want to be. On this shot, gonna have to bump the 8. I'm too far above the 7 to hold it. I don't want to leave myself that thin of a shot, and I don't want to go forward like around the table in this situation, even though maybe that's a legitimate shot idea as well. Maybe using high inside and playing it 3 rails all the way around. But as it is, it looks like it's just going to bump the 8 on the way up. So I'm going to play that reaction and try to create position off that collision. That was pretty good, really. I expected it to bump towards the side, so I was playing the cue ball higher up as well. If I would have hit it fuller, the cue ball would not have gone as far, and then the 8 would have gone further, and then potentially I could have shot the ball in the side. So the speed was set up a certain way. Now I can just go back and forth, side rail to the other side rail, shoot the 9 in the same corner. Get a little bump here to get straight in-ish. Just visualizing making the 9 every time I shoot it. 4-1. Marcello's break. Definitely a cut break. At that time, there was not as much spin or no spin, so that was a pretty good result. Cut the 1 in the side. With the new rules of breaking from the box, I think that where he's breaking from is outside of that. I might go for this. Looks like the 7 might come into play. Makes it less appealing. As far as safeties that are there, I think maybe trying to use the 3 as a blocker and maybe cutting it the 2 to the left above the 7 to the end rail, and then coming down 2 rails behind the 4, ideally towards the 5 ball. This is a good shot if you play your speed really good. Left me a full ball hit, but I can't cut it in. So I like to play this thin, and ideally I want it to bump the 5 rail into the 5 and trap it there, and then use the 9 as the blocker. A little bit too thinly. Did cover up most of the ball. I'm not sure if you can hit it thin enough to make the 9 on a carom. It's hard to see how full he can hit it to know what kind of angles he can create. If you can hit it full enough to go past the 9 with the cue ball, I might try to use the speed of that angle and play the cue ball below the 5. The 6 is laying there. I could easily play safe here. I'm going to try to play the 6 ball to make it, I think, here. And then hoping to leave a shot. But it wasn't there. kind of where the 7 was. I thought maybe the 2 ball might interact with it and leave the 2 close to the hole. Here I'm going to play a safety. Just trying to bank that to the middle of the table. Leave distance. He's elevated here. Looks like the 7 ball carom can be made. If I'm shooting the carom, I'm probably going to play the 2 ball position to maybe cut it in the side, so not using a ton of pace here. That was wild cueing. Pretty much an amazing result. That's what's another thing about pool that's fun and not fun is the amazing things that can happen. That was actually the called pocket, I think. So even if he was playing a call pocket game, that would have been fine. And he's got a great shot on the 2, so now I just have to stay in line. Good shot. I just draw back to the same place, same angle if you can. If it's too far away, then maybe just go forward and play this 4 in the corner to the left. A little bit of a smoother transition would look really nice on the swing there. I feel like I'm going to be playing pool my whole life, the rest of my life, so I'm going to work on my swing because I want it to look good, because why not? It's a project. Takes a little bit of pressure off making the ball if you're just more concentrated on developing a pro level looking stroke. On that stroke, there's like head tilt and twist. Came up a little bit high, but this is pretty good. Ideally, I think you would want to have been straight in. Just got to make it. Four to 2. All right, it's my break. Made 2 balls. Being elevated over the 3 makes this shot a little bit tricky. Might consider rolling out. The 5 is tied up on the 9. So there's going to be probably some moving here. Yeah, so I just move the 3 a little bit further out to make it a little bit trickier to get shape on it. With that 4 hanging, there's a little bit less benefit now for going for it. Any sort of safety typically is going to involve sending the 2 ball closer to the 3 and the 5, which could break them out without me having to do anything. So that's part of the philosophy of this strategy. I consider trying to cut this 2 in. It's pretty tough. Could kick and stick the cue ball there. It's a pretty good shot. Seems like he's trying to use the 5 and the 9 as blockers, keeping the 2 ball down a little bit further, of course. I think I can see just the edge of it, but it kind of cuts towards the end rail, and can't do much else. I think I'm going to kick at this ball and try to. I could make it in the side here. I'm really trying to kick it past the side and let the cue ball stay down on this side of the table, the bottom of the screen. So that was pretty productive. I was able to move the 9 off the 5, which I think is maybe helpful for when somebody actually does try to run out, and I'm playing confidently that it's going to be me that tries to run out, so I'm okay with it being bumped out. It is what it is, of course. I wasn't trying to bump it out. But I've left him fairly tough. Wish I had a better side angle for that stroke. Seems a little bit jerky. I don't know where the cue's going. I'm trying to bank this in the side. It does pass. Just keep the cue ball down at the end rail in case I make it. Also playing like a softer speed to take away any really easy opportunities he would have if I miss. If you can cross bank this ball and just come all the way back down table. That plays a pretty good 2-way also, shooting that shot. If you hit it slightly short and not to the side rail, and you can leave the cue ball all the way down back by where the 3 is. Yeah, this shot basically. It's kind of a good holding pattern shot. So I'm going to try to slow inside spin. Rail first cut this ball, I think. The 4 is kind of interacting with my bridge, so it's a little bit tricky. I want my hand to be right where the 4 is. So I'm trying to figure out what to do. It takes away a lot from the percentages if you can't cue properly. Swerved back way too much. I think I needed to use less spin. So she just punched this ball 2 rails back for the 3 and looking good from there. This would be like center ball and right, maybe touch low. Not a lot of right, just enough to turn it a few degrees. Seems like the body is rotating as you get further into this shot. Could play this 3 to the 4 to play. I would like to potentially just get the cue ball to leave exactly where it is right now after the 4 ball's made. So you're straight in on the 5. So I like just slow rolling this ball and coming up just a little bit. Probably lower than that. Kind of back where it was is actually the ideal spot, I think. Just to play this in the side from here. So just rolling ball, touch of right, pretty good. Try to leave myself an angle unless I want to draw this straight back for this when I shoot the 6. So I'm going to probably draw this ball. Try to maintain the angle. So now I'm just going to make this ball and then play behind the 7 or around the 7. So this almost is a natural center ball. I like to play this with a touch of the left just to send it on its way. Bump the 7, which is not by plan. However, it seems like it's going to be okay. I was more concerned with making that 5 ball. The 6 is in the 1-1 diamond zone, which is pretty easy to maneuver. I can go forward and cheat the pocket, or I can cheat the pocket with draw. Just trying to draw out, take what I get. Pretty good. So this is more of a punch, just slightly below center. Slightly below center so it doesn't go down table any further than it is. I just want it to go parallel to the side pockets. So it's just a touch of draw, more of a punch, and straight in ball here, looking good. All right, score is 5-2. Marcello's break. Made 3 balls again. Pretty thin cut on the 2, but totally doable and definitely worth going for it. I almost like cutting this to the right so you can play the big window. You go 3 rails. You want to basically bump the 5 or just touch it really and then play the angle there is what I like. So you're playing 2 ball to the corner pocket, high ball, touch of left, and that'll take you to the end rail, to the side rail, and back to the end rail down here and back up. Once you've hit the end rail on this side of the table, the bottom of the screen, you're pretty much sitting really nice. That was a good shot as well. A little bit short. Play this soft and play it just to barely get past. Yeah, just a little bit softer than that. That was a good shot though. Came up too far. Nearly a great shot. So I can kick 1 rail here. Not sure if that pace was the right pace that I would like for that. I'd try to control something a little bit better than that. If you're just slamming at it to try to make it, I guess that's fine. I feel like in every situation in pool, when it's your turn, you should have some element of control that you can see. There should be something you can do to help your cause. Bumped that 7 on purpose, got lucky, pretty fortunate with where it ended up. But again, I'm not so worried about that. I need to do my best to maintain a position on the 6. If I miss the 5, then it's no good anyway, so I need to bear down on that. And it's very difficult to hit precise. I was pretty fortunate there, but it could have easily gone a little bit weird. But I was good on the 6, so I can do whatever. Barely made that ball. Overcut it. Showing a little bit of nerves here for some reason. Look at these next strokes here. Didn't need to hit that ball passed, so that was pretty lucky. And all will be forgiven if I can bear down properly and make this shot. Straight high ball. Six to two. This break I moved it slightly further out just to kind of see what was going on. More of a slow roll break, just like my normal break without it. But, got hooked. Did it make it the wing ball? I did not make the one in the side, which was my plan. I think my philosophy for this set is to pretend that the rule exists that you have to break from the box, because that's good for my practice, because I do play tournaments occasionally that have that rule set, and it seems like a lot of the pros do really well. So I'm just rolling out to a thin hit on the one. Trying to leave it tricky. If you have any emotional struggles right now, a shot like this can be very difficult. You have to be clear-headed because you want to mostly avoid the scratch, which did really well. Barely didn't scratch, but a scratch there can happen if you play that ball poorly. And you just played like a follow rather than a glancing blow, which was a nice shot. It's probably the shot that I would have shot. I would have planned to, ideally you just bump the side rail and go back under the three. So I'm just going to play this ball thin as I can and play the cue ball back towards the five. As long as I keep separation there, it's okay that he has a hit. The three is way up table, so it's difficult to get back down table for that ball. I'm not so concerned here with taking away everything. If I was playing against a higher rated player, I might choose differently, not allowing them to have as much control of the table like I am here, giving up control. A little bit. I think he can bank this ball. You can maybe cut it. It definitely is an easier situation to play safe than my plan was to give him. Kind of left it easy but difficult. It's really close, so you can't get good power into a draw shot. I'm looking to see how much power I can get here. But I think I'm just going to tap it. The three goes, and I just have to bear down and make it. Play my speed. I think I'm just going to bear down and make this ball. I'm not sure that I can't remember if I try to play with right English to try to bump the six ball or just make it thin and go up and down. I did try to do that, so I actually over spun it, and then because I hit the three ball a little bit thickly, Left myself a long off angle, slightly off angle shot on the 4. This is where the visualization that I've been working on has really been helpful, where because I'm giving it a visualization and seeing the ball being pocketed, it's helping to add to my confidence when I actually get down and shoot the shot. Watching the whole shot unfold in my mind and my imagination, seeing myself be successful, has been one of the things that I've really done better with over time, and I'm continuing to lean in on that as part of what I'm focusing on. Is letting my visualizations guide me and not my mechanical ability. Pretty good shot there. So from here, just gotta avoid the 8 and then avoid being blocked behind the 7 ball for that shot in the corner. Every other pocket is open, so I just had to let my imagination tell me what to do. Let's cut this in the side. Let the cue ball go up table and back down. Nice and smooth. I think on this shot, I remember getting out of line. Thinking that I should play 2 rails with like a stun. This is a good shot, except for I hit it too hard. This is not the shot that I wanted. Forcing myself to shoot a more difficult shot. This is still doable. I just gotta cut it nice and smooth. It was really thin. Yeah, the 7 ball, I got a little bit careless for a second. I didn't play my position because the shot that I hit was fine. I just had to hit it softer, but I wasn't really playing for a spot. I thought maybe I could cut it in the side. If it had gone further, it would have been able to be cut in the side, obviously. I missed that one. It was pretty tough. I could have made it easier for myself with slightly more speed. And then if it was any softer I've hit it, I could have just cut it in the corner. So either shot would have been legit. You just have to choose, and a lack of commitment. But we're working on that. We're doing better. All right, so Marcello can just cut this ball, come around. What a shot. Six to three. 6-3. Good break. cue kind of goes off to the side on the follow through, I'd say something to work on is learning how to stroke straight through the cue. If your body's in the way, then there's probably something going on where you're not creating enough space for yourself. Jabby stroke a little bit. A little bit more of a smooth follow through would probably solve this. Trying to get too much of the English to happen. Again, when you gotta let the cue do the work. If you don't let the cue do the work, you will get tired when you do all the work. So here, I don't have the full ball. I'm trying to play it with left English and all the way down, and I almost scratched. Here I'm trying to create separation. Not knowing exactly where the ball's going to go. Kind of roughly hit it just hard enough for the balls to be able to separate a decent amount. If you hit them fairly full and not so hard that they'll come back and not so soft that they don't separate. So you kind of got to get a feel for that speed. Once you know that it's happening, it's easier to understand how that all works a little bit more delicately. The speed of those safety and kick shots is important for maintaining some sort of like a scramble where no one has clear control. This shot is makeable, not easy, and there's not a guaranteed shape position, so this is not what I would consider like fully in control. This is totally a makeable shot, and you can totally get position, yes. However, it hasn't happened yet, and at this moment, I feel fine about the shot that I hit, so the speed was good. Obviously, if I hit it slightly softer, it would be a tougher position than it is. So, but over the range of different angles that I'm going to hit that, the two, I feel like that was kind of like the general speed that I like to hit it at. So you can pocket this to the right or the left. Slopped it in, but got hooked. Pretty good idea. I think he's trying to like kick it and hold the cue ball behind the 7. Smart play. So the shot that I like here is to cut it to the right and then play the cue ball back to the middle of the table. nearly made it. I think on that shot, it would have been better for me to look down the barrel of it, so to speak, the three going into the hole. One of the ways that I help myself visualize is to go look at the contact point, but more importantly, visualize the ball going into the hole, and then kind of like imagining how the cue ball is going to swipe across it to make it go there. And then once I can kind of get a feel for that, then I can go back to my original position and have a much more clear visualization from at address. A little bit more draw there. A lot more draw, really. So it'd be something to take a look at the cueing or the setup for that shot. If you're not that happy with it, now's the time to analyze it. At the time, you were not happy. So there's something to witness in that shot that can help you improve your game. If we thought that it was going to go the way that we wanted it to, and then we did the thing and it didn't do that, and then we got mad, then we should have a reason to be mad. We shouldn't be just mad because we didn't make the ball. It's something everybody's got to figure out. It's like, what is it that I need to work on? So this shot, I can make it. I think the 6 is almost in the way. That's a spoiler, obviously. I ended up shooting at it just to make sure, just to see what would happen. I wasn't sure if I was going to hit the 6 or not, but I ended up missing it thin, I think. But I also was trying to play shape at the same time, so I think the shot was, I needed to have a little bit more commitment before I made this ball. Just pretend that the 6 wasn't there and just shoot the shot. Now that I think about it, the 6 was what kind of was in my mind. Because I wanted to hit it fuller with outside English to keep the cue ball down on this side of the table and not have it leak to the end of the rail. So but there's not really a good safety. I can't bank it. All I can do is cut it, and kick shot is not really that much better than anything else that I see, so I feel like the move is to go for it. So I set myself up to learn something on this shot. Yeah, I like that stroke okay. The stroke was good. Missed the ball. I just overcut it thinking that I might hit the 6. So here, you can stay above it. Draw with right English. Come back to the middle of the table. Like playing for the middle of the table. If you can't reach it, use the bridge. You could go forward also with left English and play it maybe in the side. Pretty good safe. Try to kick this into the side or up table, similarly to that other kick shot that I hit earlier. Unintentionally made that ball. Now I'm going to play safe. Use the 9 as interference. And just separate the balls and leave them on the end rails. If you can't thin it or kick at it, one rail, 2 rails to the left, I think is my preferred method here. Slightly off angle. Just going to play forward and play it in the side. Try to use minimal English here. Just high ball and play the catch of the X spin action that when it hits the rail is going to be the only spin that makes it go towards the 9. Should actually give it a little bit more of a rebound off the rail. Slightly less action off the second rail though than if you were to use inside spin. Scores 7-3. Hit that one a little bit soft. Still trying to break from the side further. I think I'm going to go back to the cut break withdraw, which is what my standard has been. Cut this ball to the left, I think, is a good shot. I think I'm going to try to cut this ball to the right, use draw and left English, hopefully hit the side rail around like a half diamond away from the side pocket, and the left English should grab and take the cue ball hopefully to the gap between, I think, the 9 and the 4, or actually maybe planning on hitting even just more and trying to go below the 4. Yeah, just maximum. Then I can just let it go, and if I hit it really sweet, then I get underneath, and then if I hit it not so sweet, maybe it's between the 4 and the 9, which is fine. The 2 does pass. I was playing that for the side pocket, hit a little bit hard. Now I may end up shooting this in the corner and withdraw. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Yeah, I just sacrificed to make the ball and play safe from here. Overdrew that ball a little bit. I was trying to leave it in the middle of the rail, on the end rail. Pretty good shot. I was going to kick 2 rails at this ball. I don't think I can kick 1 rail with inside. That 2 rail kick underneath can scratch. I think that I played it with a little bit too much left spin, and I feel like that can help carry the ball to the pocket. So here, I might consider playing the 4 in there, but playing the cue ball above and then trying to bump the 7 closer to the hole while I'm playing shaper the 5 to make the next shot that's coming after this one easier. It's not a mandatory thing, but since you had ball in hand, you could play it wherever you want, and it seemed like the tangent line from the 4 to the pocket was lined up roughly with the 7, and if you could bump that and potentially even make it, then the 6 to the 9, the 6 to the 8 would be much easier than the 6 to the 7 to the net to the 8. Just a thought. So he's roughly straight in here. Draw with left English to get it to come up table further after you get this hit the rail. You have to investigate that stroke. You just gotta hit it way lower. Make sure that your elbow, if you're dropping your elbow, that happens after you contact the cue ball, because the elbow drop will make the tip go up and take away from your draw. Not sure, maybe cutting this to the right and playing the 8-9 as blockers. Kind of got away with it. I'm just going to play a foul here. I was trying to bump the 9 onto the 7, sort of, and just interfere with it more, but I don't think I even got to the 9 ball with this shot. I know that he's going to play a stop shot on the 7 and bank it behind the 8, so I'm playing to be able to just make a good hit from there. Because my expectation is that I'll have either a 1-rail kick or a 2-rail kick, and that where it's at, it's unlikely that it'll be able to freeze me to the bottom of the 8, because you'll be going towards it, and if you hit it at all, it'll bump it away and possibly clear it and make it easier. So I'm just going to try to kick and make this ball. There's not much else you can do. Playing the speed to where the cue ball will go back up table after contact. So I'm adding some speed to the shot. That'll add a little bit of randomness too, so I might get a little bit lucky. Not going to hit it super hard though. Maybe I should have. Yeah. So I've left basically a fairly thin pocket, narrow pocket here in the side, but the natural position of just rolling the cue ball forward makes this shot easier by a lot, because it's a natural position, center ball hit. That's always nice when you learn how to make natural speed shots with center ball cue ball. It's actually a lot you can do. Pretty good. Play this all the way down. If you had come up a little bit short, you could just play it in the side, so it's all perfectly fine. See, the tip goes to the left on the stroke after it contacts the ball, if you're aware of that. might be something to work on. If your body mechanics are forcing your swing in one direction or the other, that's not ideal. Scored 7-4. Marcello on the break. Looked like he's a little bit of right English there. I don't know if that's intentional. Pretty good break. Might try to draw and hit it with decent speed. Like not a low draw, but like more like punch draw. And come between the 8 and the 4. Or just draw it into the 4. Or go forward with kind of like punch and left. Yeah, like that. Just gotta make the ball. That's a good idea. So here I'm gonna kick the 1 with speed and try to hopefully get a good reaction and get a shape on the 2 so I can run the balls. If I can just slow roll it, I don't like that as much. Maybe slow rolling it is the right shot. I could play the bank if I slow roll it and it comes up at all. Not a lot of speed. Hit it pretty good. Hit the point on the way up, otherwise that would have been nice, I think. So now I gotta kick at this. Kicking 2 rails kind of kicks it at the pile, which is like more likely that you're gonna have a foul, so you gotta hit it harder. So I'm gonna kick 1 rail, I think, and just try to kick it up between the gap between the side rail and the 7, and then hopefully the cue ball floats back under the 9 and the 8 and the 4. It's kind of the shot that I'm looking at. Kick the 2 towards the side pocket. I don't even know if that was what I was trying to do. That kind of a safety is common in one pocket, though, to kick and then bank it back to your side. Pretty good hit. Moving pretty well overall is Marcello. 2 rail kick behind, I believe, is the right shot here. Maybe 1 rail kick, but I think the 2 rail kick is good. Might not be able to do it, everything that I want to do here. Barely hit it. Got away with it. I think you can see the very edge of the ball only. Solid contact, good result. Kick and stick, nice. I'm trying to bank this ball and play behind the 4 and the 9 and the 8. Just hit it too wide. Caused a little bit less power beyond the 2, and it went wider and hit the side point. So this is pretty poor fin result. So Marcello's got a good opportunity here. So I think you just gotta use draw and punch it to the left to get straight in on the 4. I like that spin shot. That's a good shot. I think just a stop shot here. Another shot that I would have considered on that 2 is to just leave it there so that I can bump the 9 when I make the 4. And that opens up the middle of the table slightly for the 7 and the 8 to be more easily pocketed. The 9 is kind of in the way. And he could have addressed that by leaving a slight angle to bump the 9 out of that spot. Not sure if he was trying to do that with that shot or not. Put a little bit of right English on that ball, and it could have bumped the 9, and that would have been helpful. Now you got to play to a smaller area. Really, the ideal area is partly blocked by the 9. I think you just got to play to give yourself an angle. It's a little bit too much, maybe. No, that's pretty good. I would consider cutting this and then playing it and staying above the side pockets and coming back basically to where the cubulas are slightly left of it, more like on that break pathway, the wear path. Staying above the side, just to not deal with the side pocket and the steepness of the angle that you're going to get if you leave it close to the side or close to the side rail. This shot becomes a little bit trickier. Just going to make this ball and leave yourself a little bit of space. Bump into it. Good shot. Worked out. All right, score's 7-5. Went back to that cut break. Okay, now I just got to play the cue ball back to that same slot where it's at, ideally. This is like a little bit of high left. Half ball, maybe a little bit fuller than half ball to get the side to side action that I'm looking for. If you get it too thin, it just goes up towards the 8. If I'm straight in, I'm just going to draw it straight back. Trying to play the pathway from the 4 to the 5 between the 7 and the 8. So I'm like looking at my angle. A little bit more straight in than I wanted to be, I think, here. I think this is still doable. I think I still shoot this with high and left. Pretty good touch there, actually. I was hoping for an angle here, but this is fine. I'm just going to draw straight back all the way to the end rail and back out for a little bit of an angle on the 6. I don't think I'm going to be using too much. Would have been right English there to get it to come closer to the 6. Can get a little bit crazy with the angle. So now I'm like a little bit closer to straight in than I wanted to be, so I'm going to have to punch this out, but I got to trust the stroke. Make sure that I hit it hard enough to come out past the 8, but not allowing that to make me hit it too hard. The shot is the shot. It doesn't matter where the balls are. You're just playing the cue ball to a position, and if you do it properly, then the object balls are not in the way. So I'm just going to play this ball back up and play the short side. I think playing the natural cut on the 7 here. Just playing the speed. Yeah, it bumped the 9, which I thought may happen. I ended up with a straight in shot here. Again, still working on my visualizations, just trying to see how long I can focus on that particular thing. As I get more habitual with that, it gets easier, so I just continue to focus on it until you basically have forgotten that you're even working on it, because it's so automatic and you just know how to do it. And eventually, all right, scores 8-5. Marcello's break. Made 2 balls. Don't think he can pocket the 2 ball. If not, then I'd be looking to play a safety by banking the 2 towards to the side rail and then to the end rail, and then maybe using a little bit of English, like right English maybe, to get the cue ball to not hit the 9. On the rebound. Okay, it wasn't even necessary to use that English that I was speaking about. That was exactly the shot. Played a little safe there. Could have blocked behind the 9, the 5, or the 8. gonna lift an off angle combo. So I gotta like cut the two ball away from the rail to make this shot. And the two ball is fairly close to the rail, the side rail, so it's not quite rail first. It could be made that way. I'm gonna try to cut it and use a little bit of spin to trap the cue or the two ball, make the two ball not go too far. And I did good on that. So now I'm going to play this natural line off the 2 to go between the 5 and the 9, and then back to the middle of the table, rather than trying to turn it or do anything devious. Bump the 9. Still have a shot here. Just gotta play low and play behind the 7, like to the end rail. I think is how I'm doing it. It's hard to see the angle here. Barely got there, almost too hard. Really, it's too hard to have everything. Now I can just make it and just leave the cue ball kind of right there. I was trying to hit that a little bit softer, but that was a thin hit on the 5. Just gonna go forward here. Oh no, not sure what I'm doing. I think I should have just went forward there and just played the speed. Left Marcello a shot here. Not so good. He has to cut it to the corner. The side is taken away. Almost made it and got there. I was close to a great shot. Tons of body movement. Disregard the dog. Pretty good. Just gotta make this ball, cut the 9 in the side. Might go forward just a little bit. Might draw this back. Just missed it. I think at this point I had a little bit of a lapse in focus. I'm not sure if the dog distracted me and I just let it get to me, not coming back to the game. It's all a learning experience. It is all for the best. I think probably just make this one rail and play cue ball to the short side of the 9. And kick at this. I think I decided to kick to the end rail and back down just to give myself a better chance to get safe and lucky. Or so I think. There's a chance to kick it in the side or the corner. Pretty doable here. Play this with high ball and right English and just stay below and play it in the side, or you can play a little bit left and kind of a little bit more punch and then come back to the middle of the table and shoot it in the corner. Interesting footwork on that. It's getting a little too far. This is pretty good. I'd be happy with this, really. I think maybe he's playing for the corner, other corner like my suggestion, or this is also a shot that you could have been playing for. It's a pretty good angle. Missed it, left me a shot. This is pretty reasonable, so at this point I think I've calmed myself down enough to make it. And if I do, then that'll be 9, and then we'll be on to the second set in a brief moment. Thank you for watching.